Hello and welcome to the Kopala TV main news. We get straight into our headlines. Pharmaceutical Society urged Republican President to cancel $17 million retail contract. Copperbelt residents demand an explanation from ZESCO. Gears saddened by ECZ's appointment of an electorate observatory and advisory group. And in international news, a huge fall in cancer patients seeing specialists during coronavirus pandemic. Join us in a bit after this. To present the Kopala TV main news, my name is Wabwila Musongole. The Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia are urging the Republican President Edgar Lungu to immediately cancel a contract for $17 million which was given to a retail pharmacy based in Kopala. Pharmaceutical Society President Jerome Sikanyika said this in an interview with Kopala TV this morning. Mr. Sikanyika also spoke about the issues of not having essential drugs in the health facilities and has called on the Republican president to act immediately.
We have seen with a lot of concern actually on what is happening at the Ministry of Health, and we are calling on the Republican president to get him to intervene and cancel the contract for $17 million that was given to a retail pharmacy that is based in Kamwara. If the Zambian people are going to be served with the proper medication. We are also been worried the way the contract and the tender for Mission Pharma came to an end. We have seen most of our members have lost jobs due to them to request or demand for $11 million that the government is owing them, which for us we have not seen anything wrong with that. Now, if you cancel a contract, a tender for this person whom you owe 11 million, then you go give almost the same tender to the same person, to another person with 17 million. I think there's that a problem which is there, and we can also say that there is serious corruption. And moreover, you cannot give a little pharmacy to supply a huge contract of that nature, which a pharmacy has no any track record of that. That's a worry that we have been talking about. Because of this is why now you are seeing that today we have no insulin in hospitals. Today we have no essential drugs in hospitals. Today we have no antihypertensives in hospitals. And when you see the Minister for Health goes in hospitals, he requests the people working in pharmacies, he asks them to get the drugs or get drugs from other sources, then they parade them for camera purpose to show the people that everything is well, things are not okay. And our members are tired to be covering up a minister who doesn't even employ their juniors. We are tired. Most of the time pharmacists are covering up the inadequacies in the Minister for Health, and this should come to an end. Most of the time we don't usually have drugs, but all the time pharmacists cover up whoever comes to show that face that yes, there are drugs in the hospitals. I think it's high time now the president has to act, and if it's possible, remove the Minister for Health, Honorable Dr. Chitaruchirofia, to give him to another ministry, and so that the ministry is saved, unlike the way it is currently. The ministry has gone down and very, very bad.
Copperbelt residents are demanding for an explanation from ZESCO management as to why they are still experiencing unreasonable hours of load shedding. The residents said they do not understand why this is so when the country received a good amount of rainfall. Details are in the following report.
Zambia, like many other Southern African countries, has been facing a serious power deficit. This power deficit has negatively affected commerce and industry, making the cost of doing business to increase. Kopala TV spoke to Copperbelt residents who want ZESCO management to give them an explanation to why they are still experiencing unreasonable hours of load shedding.
The schedule of load shedding in Chimwemwe, I think it's not in the lines accordance to what we've been communicated for. Chimwemwe is divided into two categories. There's a part which is connected to industrial area and the others which is just for residential. But the concern is the load shedding for our side. When you're looking at the point of where there's Kamunga Hotel going downwards, it takes about more than 12 hours. When the power goes cut off around 12 hours to come back around 22 past. But the other areas it only takes less than 3 hours. So at least a communication where we can understand the issues concerning the load shedding system. So this is a concern as a citizens that electricity is part of business. We do business using electricity, not only for the residential, but it is affecting us as entrepreneurs, especially welding, internet, the issues of cafe, salons. When you make sure that the electricity goes around 12 hours, coming around 22 hours, what can you raise out of that?
Others spoken to feel load shedding has improved.
The issue of load shedding where I live, they're quite can see improvement, but others they complain. But for us where we live, there is really a great improvement.
Zambia has received quite a good amount of rainfall, and for this reason, Copperbelt residents are wondering why they are still experiencing unreasonable hours of load shedding. ZASCA management has on countless times cited low levels of water as the reason for the power blues. Diana Kopala, Kopala TV News, Copperbelt.
Moving on, the Republican President Edgar Lungu has told the Media Institute of South Africa, MISA Zambia officials that society needs the media if informed decisions are to be made. According to a statement availed to Kopala TV, Special Assistant to the President Isaac Chipampe wrote that the President said the PF government will protect the media as the country goes into elections in 2021. The President said this yesterday in a meeting with MISA Zambia at State House. He said there is need for the government and the media to work together for the betterment of the country. He also noted the importance of media freedom and freedom of expression as constitutional freedoms must be upheld, adding that government is aggrieved when these are breached. And MISA Zambia chairperson Helen Mwale expressed gratitude to the President for according the institution an opportunity to discuss media development in the country. In case you have just tuned in, you are watching the Kopala TV main news. Join us in a bit after our commercial break.
Kopala TV, Kopala ya buena mumwesu Kopala. Kopala TV.
My number. Ishusho limentindeya za yama oji orushani. Kopala TV.
Yama oji. Imuntu wandi Yesu. Fwebene by fwebene. Fwebene. I did the kalasti. Yako Kopala futi yaba Kopala.
Manje kuikatashani yoina. Na ena ya kuntambo oro ni jiviji.
Wala iwe. Ile sango patopsta decoder. Channel 98 paku. Ninshi yatuvela. Puta mensa ninshi yalila ni efizimbwe. Kule izimoli la pemunjazi.
So yuri landati Kopala TV tayawanga yama boiling channel wako watu wachila tamba fe wino. Kwangwa filamba fyambo kupona. Uruwa mfotoro. Bantu ifuma channel wefingi fyamo pura fi.
Alola iwe. Kopala TV ni Kopala futi eile kuchalo. No shali mokuba molasti. Elo ile sansa Kopala yonse my number. Ukwambila pepe my number pandola lwansha. Kito paketi ke mufurila mufuken. Chingola pa chingo begi na chidila iwe. Ni Kopala TV eiliko.
Muntu wanja pakushongora fika top star we tatande tambera pofi Kopala TV. pachani o 98 apa kude konkana ne charo bumper to bamba ni pate after pate wo pate after pate wo ha ha Kopala TV OG Kopala TV available on Topstar channel 98. Kopala TV, entertainment just for you.
Looking for an opportunity to grow your business? Well, Kopala TV has good news for all small-scale businesses. You can now advertise on Kopala TV's Makwebo. Bonseba na mayo na bashtata. Iseni mulangishe amakwebo yenu pamutengo uachepa nga 100 kwacha. Yes, you heard right. For as low as 100 kwacha, your business will get its peak. Whatever the business, we will advertise. All you need to do is send a text of what your business offers, indicating the name, location, and contact details to the number below. Payment for the advertising spot can be made through MTN mobile money on the number down below. Makwebo, make your business known.
One Zambia, one nation.
Zambia chalo chesu. Stop political violence.
I am Zambian. I am against political violence.
I am Zambian, and I say disarm all cadres now.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
It's not good killing one another as Zambians. Stop the violence.
Let's keep the peace in our streets. Let's work to stay one Zambia.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
Ndimwina Zambia. Lekeni ukulwa pamulandu wa politics.
Welcome back. Zambian youths have responded to the youth meeting held by the Sports Minister Emmanuel Mulenga. The meeting was set to be held today at Government Complex in Lusaka. Details are in the following report. The Zambian youth have been the center of attention in recent times. With young people not being given a platform to speak on many issues the country is facing, many have resorted to using social media as their outlet. A number of influencers in the country, including but not limited to musical artists, spoke out concerning various occurrences in the country. In response, government through the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Child Development organized a youth meeting scheduled to take place today, Friday the 12th of June 2020. Speaking to journalists in Lusaka, Youth and Sports Minister Emmanuel Mulenga said the head of state is ready to hear the youths out and that the meeting was their chance to speak up. However, many of the youths invited declined the offer, citing lack of proper representation of all Zambian youths as a major reason, among others, and their fellow influential youths agreed. Kitra producer and businessman Jerayo noted that having the authorities meet the youth where they are would allow them to better understand the challenges that the youth are facing. He further stated that an effective way to solve the youth's problems would be to hold the proposed meeting at a provincial level.
I wonder why they want to do everything in Lusaka, whereby the youth are all over the country. Why wouldn't they let everything be sorted on a provincial level? Because equally, if I was invited, I wouldn't. Because I would love to sort our own issues from our own province. We've got enough representation in our own sector. So I'm sure even on the provincial level, we would handle it well.
Lusaka-based musician and human rights activist Maiko Zulu agreed with Jerayo's sentiments, adding that government is in high panic and is therefore going about the issue the wrong way.
Well, the government seems to be in high panic right now because I think as we are heading towards the election, they've realized that they've not lived up to the promises that they made to the people, and so they are targeting everyone that seems to be questioning their governance. And so the issue of artists, in as much as it has raised a lot of dust, issues go beyond just artists. So in trying to target artists being people with influence and a certain kind of platform that is appealing to young people, their government is shooting itself in the foot because they are missing the whole point. These meetings should have been going on from the time they were elected into office. But they focused on other things. They focused on bribing the youth to become political machines, to become, defensive machines. And so they missed the opportunity. So now it's too late to call young people for meetings because, these politics they are trying to play using artists seem to be backfiring. So I think the government needs to own up. They need to approach the issue of young people in the manner that it's supposed to be approached, not from an emotional point of view, because right now they seem to be using emotion to tackle an issue that has been long-standing since they were placed into power.
The youth meeting was said to have taken place at Government Complex in Lusaka at 14 hours today. Wabwila Musongole, Kopala TV News in Kitwe. Governance, Elections, Advocacy, Research and Services GEARS initiative is saddened by the decision the Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ has taken to unilaterally appoint an electoral observatory and advisory group of eminent persons whose mandate is to advise the Commission on electoral matters such as electoral violence without stakeholders' consultations. GEARS Initiative Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi told Kopala TV that this is contrary to the provisions of the Electoral Commission of Zambia Act No. 25 as amended by Act No. 5 of 2019, Section 4(3)(b), which guides the Commission that it may, in furtherance of its functions, undertake consultations, public hearings and inquiries for purpose of performing its functions under the Constitution and this Act. Mr. Chipenzi added that unless the Commission is clearly sending a message to the nation and authority admitting that the current commissioners have failed to provide these observatory and advisory services to ECZ management and cannot be listened to by stakeholders, this move is unproductive and a drain on the national treasury.
We find it saddening and very, very strange that the Electoral Commission of Zambia made a unilateral decision to come up with an observatory and advisory group of eminent persons without consulting stakeholders in the electoral process. This consultation was key for the stakeholders to appreciate why this group of eminent persons should exist. And why should the Commission decide to have an advisory body when itself is an advisory body to the management at the Electoral Commission of Zambia? Perhaps this is the confusion that we have seen, where when the Commission is full-time, they behave like they are also in management, when not. The appointment of these eminent persons to advise the Commission is a clear indication that the Commission feels like it is in management and therefore needs another body to advise it on top of it, which is not the correct arrangement. This will tell us that we have two advisory bodies. One, the commission appointed by and reporting to President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, and another advisory board, observatory and advisory board appointed by and reporting to Justice Chulu-led commission. This might even create conflict instead of reducing conflict in terms of management and decision making.
The Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, has said it is disturbed by the nature of the operations conducted by DEC, especially that it has set the benchmark of conducting its business above board. The association has informed its membership and stakeholders that its operations have been paralyzed following a raid by Drug Enforcement Commission DEC officers. According to a statement issued by FAZ Communications Manager Sydney Mugala, Drug Enforcement Commission officers descended on the institution on Thursday afternoon and got away with a laptop and a CPU from the office of the General Secretary Adrian Kashala and a desktop from his personal assistant. Mr. Mugala said the officers from the Drug Enforcement Commission presented a search warrant looking for drugs and narcotics and other related substances, and that FAZ officials fully cooperated with DEC officers and have pledged full compliance with the law enforcement agencies. The association has also reiterated that it operates on an open-door policy and will remain available to whoever wishes to seek information within the law. The Zambian National Farmers Union, ZNFU, together with the Lusaka City Council, LCC, have weathered the storm between onion farmers and traders that was brewing at Soweto Market. The meeting was held on the 9th of June at the Lusaka Civic Center, led by His Worship the Mayor of Lusaka, Miles Sampa, and Council Directors, as well as ZNFU Director Commodities, Maria Zalumis, and was attended by onion farmers' representatives and traders. ZNFU President Jervis Zimba said in a statement made available to Kopala TV that in the meeting it was resolved that the pricing for onion will be determined according to supply and demand, hence farmers and traders will negotiate the prices. Mr. Zimba further said that the Lusaka City Council, working with ZNFU, will develop a Memorandum of Understanding MOU by the end of July. You are still watching the Kopala TV main news. Join us after our commercial break for international news.
Kopala TV, Kopala ya buena mumwesu Kopala. Kopala TV.
My number ishusho limentindeya yama oji orushana Kopala TV
yama oji imuntu wandi Yesu fwebene by fwebene fwebene aidede kalasti yako Kopala futi yaba Kopala
manje kuikatashani yoina naena ya kuntambo oro ni jiviji
wala iwe ile sango patopsta decoder channel 98 paku ninshi yatubela puta mensa ninshi yalila ni evidimbwe kule izimuli la pemunjazi
soyuri landati Kopala TV tayabanga ya maboiling channel wako batu wachila tamba fe wino kwangwa filamba fyambo kupona uruwa mfotoro pantu ifuma chane wefingi fyamo pura fi
alula iwe Kopala TV ni Kopala futhi kuchalo lo ushali mokuba molasti elo ile sansa Kopala yonse my number ukwambila pepe my number pandula lwansha kito paketi ke mufudila mufukeni chingola pa chingo begi na chidila bombe ni Kopala TV liko
muntu wanja pakushongora fika top star wetata nde tambera pofi Kopala TV pachani o 98 apa kude konkana ne charo bumper to bamba ni pate after pate wo pate after pate wo Kopala TV OG
Kopala TV, available on Topstar Channel 98. Kopala TV, entertainment just for you.
Looking for an opportunity to grow your business? Well, Kopala TV has good news for all small-scale businesses. You can now advertise on Kopala TV's Makwebo. Bonseba na mayo na bashtata. Iseni mulangishe amakwebo yenu pamutengo uachepa nga 100 kwacha. Yes, you heard right. For as low as 100 kwacha, your business will get its peak. Whatever the business, we will advertise. All you need to do is send a text of what your business offers, indicating the name, location, and contact details to the number below. Payment for the advertising spot can be made through MTN mobile money on the number down below. Makwebo, make your business known.
One Zambia, one nation.
Zambia chalo chesu. Stop political violence.
I am Zambian. I am against political violence.
I am Zambian, and I say disarm all cadres now.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
It's not good killing one another as Zambians. Stop the violence.
Let's keep the peace in our streets. Let's work to stay one Zambia.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
Ndi mwina Zambia, lekeni ukulwa pamulandu wa politics.
Welcome back. In foreign news, there's been a dramatic drop in the number of people being seen by cancer specialists during the pandemic. National Health Services NHS England figures show a big fall in cancer referrals by GPs in April this year, down by 60% compared to 2019. Urgent breast cancer referrals saw an even larger drop, down to 78%. Cancer charities are worried that people who have symptoms are too frightened to seek help. We monitored the BBC for this report.
Restarting and fast-tracking cancer care. This is one of the new chemo buses the NHS is using to treat patients during the COVID pandemic.
Have you been on the mobile?
Yes, it's the first time I've had chemotherapy.
Pauline is 75 and has lung cancer.
I've got to take the chance, I know that. The hospital situation is far too crowded as far as I mean, not in radiotherapy, it's not, it's very clear there, where you've only got chemotherapy patients coming in and coming out.
The buses, supplied by a charity, arrived at North Middlesex Hospital after coronavirus patients filled the wards in April.
It was like a tsunami. I don't think we ever thought it would hit us at the fast rate of knots that it actually did. We definitely are at reduced capacity from what we were doing sort of pre-COVID, but we've had to do that in order to be able to treat as many people as possible.
Figures today have revealed just how severely services have been affected in England, with the number of patients referred to cancer specialists dropping from almost 200,000 to 80,000 in April.
Well, I have a scan every
It's not
3
just
months.
new patients potentially being missed. The medication 54-year-old Joanne Addis from Stockport takes for incurable breast cancer was paused because it could make her vulnerable to coronavirus.
I've got a family, I've got a new husband, and I don't want to be in a situation where my life is shortened any more than it should be.
Precise high-dose radiotherapy machines like this one in Middlesbrough is another way treatment is changing to minimise time in hospital and the risk of COVID. While in North London, around 20 patients a day receive chemotherapy, nearly the same number treated before the outbreak. Lauren Moss, BBC News.
United States tech giant Amazon says it is temporarily suspending US police from being able to use its controversial face recognition technology for a year. The company has been criticized for supporting the George Floyd protesters while promoting a tool that can lead to racial profiling of African Americans. We monitored Al Jazeera for these details.
Businesses are being called out. Campaigners and protesters are naming and shaming firms supporting the Black Lives Matter movement without making real change to their policies, and the tech industry has been no exception. With mass protests across the United States against racial discrimination and police brutality, civil rights advocates have renewed their warning over potential racial bias in surveillance technology, forcing Amazon to put a temporary one-year ban on US police from using its controversial facial recognition software called Recognition. In a statement, it says its decision might give Congress enough time to put in place appropriate rules for the ethical regulation and the use of how the technology is used.
Any type of reform Congress could pass in 1 year is not going to change the fact that this technology, in the hands of a criminal justice system that is very flawed, is still going to end up in invasive surveillance and in heightened over-policing of already vulnerable communities.
The decision is a U-turn for Amazon. Last year, it defended its product against accusations that its algorithm were inaccurate, with higher error rates of facial identification for darker-skinned and female faces.
The system I was using worked well on my lighter-skinned friend's face, but when it came to detecting my face, it didn't do so well, until I put on a white mask.
Like other facial recognition products, Amazon's technology can use artificial intelligence to quickly compare a picture from, for example, an officer's phone camera and try to match it with mugshots held on police databases. On Monday, IBM announced it will stop offering its facial recognition products over what it said were mass surveillance and racial profiling concerns. That same day, House Democrats introduced a police reform bill that would prohibit federal law enforcement's use of real-time facial recognition. Sara Khairat, Al Jazeera.
Finally, in foreign news, it has been over 2 months since the Philippines government brought on coronavirus restrictions. Thousands of unemployed workers who want to return to their home provinces or their jobs overseas are stranded in the capital. Unable to earn, many of them have been forced to live on the streets. The government says it is doing the best it can, but public outrage is growing. We monitored Al Jazeera once again.
Potrisem Pandiin's family fled the war in Marawi in the southern Philippines 3 years ago. She was hoping to return to Saudi Arabia for her work as a domestic helper to earn money and rebuild what they've lost.
Look at our situation. It is dehumanizing. We are sleeping here. We have no money. My children called me and said, "Mama, are you coming home soon?" But I don't know when.
Melanie Maruhom is angry. She says her domestic flight to Cagayan de Oro province has been postponed 3 times, and the next won't be for several more weeks. They are among the hundreds of Filipinos who have been living like this over the past few days, under a bridge just across Manila's airport, refusing to leave until transportation restrictions are eased or until the government tells them of its plan to help them get home. Some have repeatedly traveled abroad as overseas workers, while others were waiting for their deployment for the first time when they were stranded in Manila after the government imposed a lockdown to stop the spread of coronavirus more than 2 months ago.
Most of them come from impoverished communities. They have spent almost all of their life savings to come to Manila, hoping for a chance at a better life. But now they say they're actually putting all their dreams in the back burner for now. All they want is to go home to be with their families again.
The Philippine government has been facilitating the return of stranded citizens both here and abroad, but its resources are buckling under the weight of the global pandemic.
They need to coordinate with the Social Welfare Department so that they are given much needed assistance, like food and place to sleep. We are also bringing those who are stranded to the Villamor Golf Course for rapid testing, and perhaps they may be allowed to stay there for now.
Latest government figures show the unemployment rate has jumped from 6% to more than 17% in just a matter of months since the pandemic began. Denny Sebastian has been stranded here in the capital for months. He says he has sold his personal belongings, his luggage, his cell phone, even his last pair of shoes. Some say the situation is so tragic that prayers have become the respite. They pray for hope and better days ahead. Jamela Alindogan, Al Jazeera, Manila.
That item wraps up the Kopala TV main news for today, but before we go, we take a look at our headlines once again. Pharmaceutical Society urged Republican president to cancel $17 million retail contract. Copperbelt residents demand an explanation from ZESCO. Gears saddened by ECZ's appointment of an electorate observatory and advisory group. And in international news, a huge fall in cancer patients seeing specialists during coronavirus pandemic. Thank you for watching the Kopala TV main news. My name is Wabwila Musongole and pleasant viewing.